Hi and welcome. On this video we're going to be covering Monsteras. The genus Monstera is named from the Latin word for monstrous or abnormal and refers to the unusual leaves with natural holes that members of the genus have. Also known as a Swiss cheese plant and is so named because of its huge leaves with holes that they resemble Swiss cheese. Leaf shape changes as the leaves mature from entire to having holes to eventually having perforations, often extending to and breaking through the outer edges of the leaves and resulting in a pinnatifid leaf shape. The Monstera addisonii is also called the monkey mask. Some say it's due to the holy leaves looking a bit like a monkey's face, whereas others believe that the wild monkeys may like to use the leaves as a way to hide while still being able to keep an eye on a nearby threat, sort of like they are wearing a mask. This plant has smaller heart-shaped leaves with clusters of oval perforations that are completely enclosed, and the leaf margins is entire or smooth. The holes form naturally on the leaf as it grows, giving it the appearance of Swiss cheese. She's a lot smaller than her sister, the deliciosa, and tends to stay on the smaller side. The Monstera addisonii is more flexible than the deliciosa and can be trained to grow in creative ways, such as trailing down from a hanging pot. But she also does like to climb, which makes the ideal plant to adapt to your surroundings. The Monstera addisonii may require more frequent watering than the other varieties, as it prefers slightly moist soil. Monstera deliciosa has the larger leaves with perforations that create a split effect and can grow up to 10 feet tall. Both species generally need lots of brightness, high humidity, and regular watering. The main difference between the two is the flexibility and leaf structure. Both will need support, and you can either use moss poles or bamboo canes. I have used both and I found them both to be successful, so it's whatever you decide to use and what fits with your plant. You then can use plant ties to hold the stems to the pole. Don't tie them too tight, as your plant still needs some space to grow and bend. Plant clips that stick to the wall are popular, as they allow you to train your vines to grow across it. You can also use them for training the vines to climb across window frames, door frames and ledges. Whichever method you choose, your Monstera might not want to cooperate at first. It can take a bit of time to adjust to growing upwards and tethered to a support structure, but it will come around. Just remember, plant parenthood is a slow process, so don't feel disheartened if it takes some time for your plant to thrive. The success of my Monsteras I put down to 5 key factors. Since Monsteras naturally grow in a partially lit jungle floor, they can't tolerate direct sunlight. Monsteras generally prefer bright, indirect light. Prolonged direct sunlight can cause leaf scorching, while insufficient light may result in slow growth and smaller leaves. Water your Monstera when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil feels dry to the touch. Overwatering can lead to root rot, while underwatering may cause the plant to become stressed and develop yellow leaves. It's essential to find a suitable fertiliser for your Monsteras so they're able to produce enough chlorophyll. Without it, leaves can turn yellow, which means it's lacking proper nutrition. I use this one here from Soil Ninja, which I just mix into the soil. I also use a liquid fertiliser which I use every 2 weeks during the spring and summer months. Monsteras typically thrive in moderate to high humidity. A humidity level of 50 to 60% is ideal. You can maintain humidity by using a humidifier, and I'll cover this in a future video. Or you can place a tray of water near the plant or mist in the leaves regularly. I'm now going to repot my Monstera obliqua. The soil I'm going to be using is different to what I've used for my other Monsteras. This one is a jungle mix by Grow Tropical. The Monstera obliqua prefers well-draining, nutrient-rich, loamy soil with a slight acidic to neutral pH that retains moisture. I've also used the soil from Soil Ninja for Monsteras, which has worked really well and I've been happy with. Always do your research for the particular plant that you've actually got that you need to repot and which is the best soil to use. Now I'm going to pot the Monstera obliqua. Always add a false bottom to help with drainage so to avoid root rot. Next add a layer of the soil. Now to add some fertiliser. Now to add another layer of the soil and mix the fertiliser and the soil together. Time to take the oblique out of its pot. Whilst doing so, it gives you the opportunity to check the root survey to make sure that there's no issues. Hopefully you can see here where I'm pointing to, the root is actually starting to come out of the pot. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I found the label stick that comes with the plant really useful to remove the soil from the roots. Now I'm just going to use another pot to add some of the soil, and then I'm going to add some worm castings. It's as natural as a fertiliser as you can get, literally worm poo. A complete nutrient palette for your plants to really show off during growing season. All you do is mix it into the soil when repotting or add as a top layer, and once watered it refertilises the plant. Make sure it's mixed together well. Now to place the oblique in the chosen pot. I love using the terracotta pots for all my plants. These are made from natural porous clay. This porous nature means that the moisture is released from the plant pot more quickly, preventing overwatering and soggy soil. Overwatering is the most common cause of unhealthy or dying plants. Wrapping the pot will remove any air pockets and make sure that the soil goes around all the roots. I'm now just going to place the stick back in just as a temporary support, just as the plant gets a little bit bigger, and eventually it'll be replaced with a moss pearl. Just to finish off, just make sure that the soil is just pressed down firmly so there's no movement from the oblique. A quick tidy up and then we'll get to watering. As for all my indoor plants and terrariums, I use RO water. So there she is, all done and looking beautiful. After I bought my Monstera deliciosa and repotted, I did start to panic to think I'd jumped the pot size too quickly. It's not done any harm and it's actually given 4 new leaves. But it is something that you do need to keep in mind when you do repot, as the plant will always focus its energy on getting those roots settled back into the new soil. At the time of repotting, I didn't use the fertiliser and the worm castings I do now, so I'm just adding a top layer, mixing in well, and then I will water it through and it will slowly release over time. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful. Please take the time to check out my other videos on the channel and use the comment section for any other future videos that you'd like me to cover. See you soon!